Now that the Alliance has split its proverbial butt cheeks and squeezed out the proverbial processed hamburger that looks prettier going out than going in, it's time to dissect this proverbial processed hamburger. And just like with the cheap date, blazing through all the bases like there's no tomorrow, once the clothes are dropped, you realize how fucked you are when the girl has a bigger dick than you. The same sort of level of surprise I had seeing Alliance have ships made for them, and combat no less. Now, one thing I still don't get, why in the herpes-infected X wound did Alliance think that Lakon, of all the manufacturers, would be suitable to make a ship for combat? Though, to my and everyone's surprise, the first ship, the Chieftain, was quite good, quickly becoming a prominent counterpart to Federal Ash ship and Clipper, plus having no fucking rank grind. Locking it was even more enticing for a PvP ship. But wait, didn't they advertise these Alliance ships for anti-Xeno purposes? Well, yes and no. First ship, the ridiculous and infinitely idiotic Type 10, was made for specifically alien raping, but rest of the Alliance lineup was never advertised for this. And a good thing too, because they are pretty garbage compared to some more capable ships. Oh, and also it was pretty clear that for Chieftain, Alliance just copied what Imperials and Federals were doing. Lakon may have had hand in breaking in Core Dynamics plans to steal ship blueprints. Allegedly. So Chieftain set the tone for the lineup, and I was expecting Challenger and Crusader to be quite somewhat warped and twisted versions of Federal piggies. And guess what? I was kind of right. So Challenger was the drop baby and Crusader is the Daka machine, and they both failed tremendously. And here's why. Now, of course I didn't get my ass up on the stage to compare these ships to other things in the game. I'm here to compare these Alliance special needs kids against each other. Because it's always a good thing to compare siblings against each other, right? So if Chieftain was overall such a good ship that even when making my personal inspection, i.e. quote-unquote review, it was super hard for me to say anything bad about it, then Challenger is a whole different story. See, when you already have a very well-built thing, be that a toothbrush or a dildo, you don't fuck around with the design. Experiment? Sure. But for the sake of humanity, do not release that malformed abomination to roam the streets. Yes, that might have been acceptable in early 2000s in Britain, but not this day and age. Oh, and I guess releasing it alongside of Crate surely didn't help too. But seriously, what were Lakon thinking? But standalone too, the ship doesn't make sense. Just like Viper 4. Yeah, sure you have half of your brain replaced by asbestos, but what's the point of soaking more damage if you can't evade as much anymore? Plus, facing the enemy won't be as easy too, so you just end up losing. But all that I would be able to forgive somehow, if not for the double class 6 optional slots. Okay, so this is a combat ship, right? And a hull tank too. So one of the class 6 slots will be taken by a shield, if you're so inclined. But what the fuck are you supposed to do with the other one? Which of the modules made for combat would be able to fill that slot and maximize its potential? Shield cell bank? But I said this is a hull tank! See what I mean? What kind of a stupid fuck designs a ship like this? And then there's the last one on the ever-magnificent line of Alliance combat ship line, the Crusader. I, being a naive fool at heart, thought that we might get another lightning fart in a jar, just like Chieftain. But as soon as I saw that fucking spoiler, it was clear that Lakon is not fucking around with these ships. Not only was a carbon copy of Chieftain from outside, but with a spoiler, but inside, without a camera or VR setup, you would not be able to tell it apart from Challenger. This is a disgrace whoever styled it, and should feel ashamed for it. As for performance, just like the ship's description says, the main and only selling point of the ship is the fighter bay, and maybe the spoiler, if you're the latest patient of Lakon's own lobotomy clinic. Or 12. Or both. Hey, it's popular with kids these days. I mean, have you seen the Lay Brandy sweatshops as of late? But seriously, Crusader is Chieftain, but worse in all aspects but 3 of them. First is the increased armor, second is the extra multi-crew seat, and third is of course the fighter bay. All else is worse, or holy shit garbage, burn it now! That's literally the summary of the ship, and being more expensive than Chieftain, then the question arises, why would you buy it? Really, why? So there you have it, all 3 ships, the Alliance Special Kids, one of which is really good, one of which that is a bit off, and the one that uses clubs and rocks to communicate by throwing them. So basically a typical Latvian first grader. And so, over the course of this script, you, me, and everyone else has realized one thing. Alliance ships are like taking a long shit. At first it comes easy, but the longer it goes on, the more exhausted and harder you push, hurting yourself and prolapsing your anus until you can use it as a makeshift tail. My god, this analogy just doesn't stop! Anyways, just get the Chieftain if you're into PvP, otherwise, Crater Python. Ah, come on, you knew this was coming! So yeah, do share the video around if you enjoyed it, and dislike or like, and subscribe if you did.